Hey, shalom, shalom. Anak na wahai, bar yashala, walakim la thumb. Call Shabawai Baharakha Wakak Shah Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua Ma'amath, which is truly. Every the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nacham Atam Kaya Hamalakwat Hashemayim Korab, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Laim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua Bahasham Racha HaKodash Wamashana Kabadim Zukoim Nawa Wamal Akim Shoya Shalaz Koim Racha Gadawal Wa Chasai Wa Shalom Wa Barakim Laha Bachayim Shah Ha Gawaya Yashala Shalom. Alright, so all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists by Hashem in the name Yahweh Shai delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. This is an article in RT. It reads, U.S. alarmed by Russia-China naval patrol. It says Washington recently sent 4 destroyers to meet 11 warships near Alaska. 2 American senators have said a large group of Russian and Chinese warships passed near the coast of Alaska last week with a group of U.S. destroyers scrambling to shadow the naval patrol, according to the U.S. defense officials and lawmakers. In a statement on Saturday, 2 Republican senators representing the state of Alaska, Lisa Murkowski and Dan Sullivan, said a total of 11 ships have been detected transiting U.S. waters in the Aleutians. Pretty much Aleutians going into Alaska. Because if you look at it, Alaska, it's not that far from Russia. It's probably about 2 miles from Russia, like the Russian islands. I believe it's the islands, but nevertheless, it is 2.4 miles away from Russia. So it don't take that long to get to Aleutian waters. Continuing on, it says, and citing a classified briefing and labeling the activities an incursion, Sullivan said it marks yet another reminder that we have entered a new era of authoritarian aggression led by the dictators in Beijing and Moscow, adding that he was pleased to see a robust U.S. response involving 4 American destroyers. Meanwhile, it's already at a level of force. WW3 is already at a level of force. Because like in law enforcement and like military, you got something called it's pretty much almost like a pyramid. With the top one being like where you're doing the most severe thing. But pretty much they somewhere in a pyramid to where they showing force. Because if you look at like law enforcement, if you see like a regular person just like in clothes, criminals are more likely to, take things, but if you see somebody in some type of uniform, you'll take a second thought, so pretty much they showing force. All right. So it says, but did not, it says, has confirmed that meanwhile, the U.S. Northern Command has confirmed that Russian and Chinese ships were indeed conducting a patrol in the area, but did not provide details of the number of ships involved. The agency's spokesperson also noted, according to the WSJ, that air and maritime assets under our commands conducted operations to assure the defense of the U.S. and Canada. However, the official did not confirm the senator's remarks about an incursion, stressing that Chinese-Russian force remained in international waters and was not considered a threat. Brent Sadler, a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, has called the patrol a historical first and highly provocative. Considering tensions over Taiwan and Ukraine conflict, the WSJ reported on Friday the Russian Defense Ministry stated that Moscow's Navy was continuing its patrols in the Pacific together with Chinese warships, sailing through the Sea of Japan, La Perouse Strait, the Sea of Okhotsk, and the Kamchatka Strait. It added that the drill involved a joint anti-submarine exercise as well as helicopter landings and takeoffs from the decks of each other's ships. Commenting on the war games, Lu Pengyu, spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington, insisted that this action is not targeted at any third party and has nothing to do with the current international and regional situation, apparently referring to the Ukraine conflict and the standoff between Washington and Beijing over Taiwan. All right, so we seeing, nations rise up against nation. I'm gonna get that real fast. This is Matthew chapter 24. We get verse 8. It says, we're gonna start at verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Let me get this word for wars. A war, a fight, a battle, a dispute. These are disputes. Strifes. Quarrels. It says literally or figuratively a single encounter or a series. So it's been a lot of wars. Rumors of wars, and then different disputes that these nations are having. You see. So what will be next? It's gonna break out into like full on war. Where they're enacting drafts and stuff like that. You see, because looking at how America is, is short when you talk about the numbers and percentage of troops that they have. All right, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows." You see, we're still in the beginning. All right, but the point, another scripture that I want to get was pretty much a lot of places are doing reconnaissance or recon, scoping out the place. All right, so let's get Tazapanya, Zephaniah chapter 2, and we'll start at verse 14. And it reads, I start from verse 13. It says, "And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria, and will make Nineveh a desolation and a dry wilderness." All right, and what is like unto Assyria and Nineveh? You see, Babylon the Great, America. It says, "And flocks shall lie down." And the reason being because they take on all the detestable acts, of Assyria, Nineveh, Egypt, Rome. It takes on all these places' spirit. It says, "And flocks shall lie down in the midst of her. All the beasts of the nations, both the cormorant and the bittern, shall lodge in the upper lintels of it. Their voice shall sing in the windows. Desolation shall be in the thresholds, for he shall uncover the cedar work. This is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. How has she become a desolation, and a place for beasts to lie down in? Everyone that passeth by her shall hiss and wag his hand." All right, and let's go into that word rejoicing. It should be shamak. Oh no, it's ilayaz. Pretty much going to the same thing as shamak, where shamak goes into being glad, being joyous, being happy pretty much. But who does this? Who's exalting, who's rejoicing, who's super joyful? The people of America. All right. It says, exalt, to rejoice, I believe used of a sound of joy. It says not of leaping, dancing, like, I'm going to go to the root word. Oh, this is the root. I'm going to go back to the regular word. Yeah, so exalting, joyful, used in a bad sense. At sometimes, like the verb which see used in a bad sense. All right, who's rejoicing for the wrong reasons? America, Babylon, and Great. They don't have anything to be happy about. Because this place is going to be destroyed. All right, it says this is the rejoicing city. All right, because when you look at it, it's one huge city. All right, that great city. Let's go into that word. It says Ayar. It says a city, a town, a place of waking, guarded. It says encampment. All right, Babylon is one huge city. When you go to each major city, they all look the same, and that's because it's pretty much all the same city. It says this is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly. All right, dwelt carelessly. All right, let's go into that. Because when you go into the word careless, it's batak, which goes into safety or security. You see, why are they dwelling as if they're safe and secure? When this place has no bars, no gates, it's completely open. It's pretty much the mindset. You see, people are totally comfortable in their wickedness. They feel like this place isn't going to be touched. And pretty much the people take on the spirit of the ruler. All right, I'm gonna read this. It says a place of refuge. People take refuge in America, Babylon, and Great. They feel like this place is never going to be touched. So it's a mindset. They feel like they feel like, hey, it's always been like this. It's never gonna change. It says safety, both the fact, security, and feeling trust. You see, it's a feeling. This is often adverb with or without preposition. Safely, assurance. They are fully assured that America will never be touched. Boldly, without care, confidence, hope. Because when you go into the word pataka, it goes into a hope. All right, you're totally like how the elect trust in the Lord. That's how 2/3 and heathen trust into America, Babylon the Great. They are totally fine with how they live. That's why when you go into this word pataka, it says to trust Him, to be bold, and they're bold in it. They're bold in their wickedness. It says to be secure, to cause to trust. All right, let's get another precept. This is Isaiah, Yeshaya, chapter 47. And let's get verse 8. It says, pretty much reading down is going into the spirit of America, Babylon the Great. All right, which is that great whore. All right, takes on the spirit of a wicked woman. All right. I'm gonna start from verse 8 though. It says, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Going back to Batak. All right. Times upon you, Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, this is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am and none else beside me. All right, because pretty much that carelessness comes from that so-called trust in this American system. I'm gonna get another one. This is Quahalat Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner do an hundred, though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before Him. All right, and pretty much when you go to scriptures like Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 32, it says, for the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Going into that carelessness, that safety, that a sinner doing evil 100 times because he hasn't been judged. They're fully set in these ways because they feel like they're prosperous in it, and it has always worked for them, so it's never going to change. You see, they feel like it's never going to change. You see, and that's why they're going to be destroyed. All right, this place, it says Batak, the word said careless, and that's the overall spirit of America, Babylon the Great, you see, but this place is going to be touched. All right. So Ottawa Martazah Banaya Palu was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Ottawa Martazah Atham Yash Yuam Tawa Lord's will you have a good day. Shalom.